Coming up in this episode, it's the first port of call for the Enchanted Princess on this repositioning cruise as we arrive in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Join me as I explore San Juan for the first time, and I'll show you my DIY shore excursion, doing exactly the same itinerary as the cruise line for a fraction of the cost. Good morning from our first port of call in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Weather seems to be improving relative to the last few days. It is supposed to get up to about 28 degrees. It was very cloudy when we pulled in just after 7, but the sun is beginning to peek through. It's feeling very hot already once I opened this door, and hoping that the rain holds off for the day. It is forecast to have thunder showers, but is supposed to hold off until about late afternoon, around 4 o'clock or so. After 3 days at sea sailing south from New York on this 14-day repositioning cruise, we finally reached the first port today in San Juan, Puerto Rico. We docked at the cruise terminal, which is really conveniently located for a day of exploring the old town. So although it's my first time visiting, I was satisfied that I had done enough research in advance to feel that it's reasonably safe to explore the old town independently. So my plan for the day was to visit the main historical sites. And in planning that, I had taken a little bit of inspiration from the cruise line's shore excursion itinerary. So after watching the carnival celebration glide into the berth beside us, off I set. Now, given that the weather forecast was not favourable, my first stop was Walgreens, across the street from the cruise port, to purchase an umbrella just in case. Now, despite the insane queue, and a fair proportion of those were passengers from the Enchanted Princess who seemed to immediately head there for forgotten essentials, I was very glad of the umbrella purchase later in the day. From Walgreens I headed north and within minutes arrived at Plaza Colon. As it's only the start of November, I was slightly surprised to see that San Juan is already preparing for the festive season ahead. But leaving that aside, for anyone who likes to get a photo at place signs, the I Loves SJ sign is ready and waiting in Plaza Colon. The square itself is obviously far more significant than the location of a tourist sign. It's in fact one of the largest and most recognisable city squares in San Juan, and it essentially represents the location of a former entrance to the old walled city. A monument of Christopher Columbus is one of the main features, and that commemorates the arrival of the Spanish, and there are also a wealth of dining opportunities in the immediate vicinity. Moving on from there, another key element of my planned day of exploration was a visit to some of the forts that are so much a part of the identity and key landmarks in San Juan. So it was time for the uphill climb to the easternmost of those, and that's Castillo San Cristobal. Honestly, the uphill walk wasn't as bad as I had expected, and it took less than 10 minutes. Now, both Castillo San Cristobal and the more westerly fort, Castillo San Felipe del Morro, are both part of the National Park system and operated by the National Park Service, and because of that the €10 entrance fee covers both forts, so it's really a bargain. Now, I chose to explore on my own as the scheduling of the ranger-led guided walks didn't actually work out for me. There are so many information panels located throughout the complex about the history of San Juan and the role of the fort, so it made exploration very easy. And once you climb high enough, there are also great views over the old town and the cruise port. After that, it was off to Castillo San Felipe del Morro, which was an easy 20-minute walk westwards with wonderful coast views as I went. Unfortunately, at that stage, the weather forecast had proven to be right and the thunderstorms began to roll in, so my visit there was quite a bit shorter than originally planned. part of the Old Town, visiting San Juan Cathedral en route, or to give it its full title, Cathedral Basilica Menoir de San Juan Baptiste. It's the cathedral for the Archdiocese of San Juan, and it's actually one of the oldest buildings in the city. Now, there's no admission charge, but donations can be made. From there, I headed off to try to find Fortaleza Street, hoping to see those famous umbrellas hanging across the street. Sadly not. As with much of the rest of San Juan and all around the Old Town, it was already in the process of being decorated with Christmas lights. Due to deteriorating weather conditions, I decided to call it a day on my explorations around 3 o'clock. It's 5:20. All aboard time is 5:30 and the ship is due to sail at 6 o'clock from San Juan. Unfortunately, the weather hasn't been great today. It was 30 degrees, but there were tropical rain showers about every 20 minutes or so, and otherwise it was fairly overcast. So now the evening is drawing in very, very quickly. There certainly won't be any sail away viewing from the top deck. There has been quite a torrential downpour in the past half hour, and there's also been quite severe thunder and lightning, which seems to have passed at this stage. So just to give you some details of my shore excursion cost, if I had taken the cruise line's shore excursion, the only real difference was that I would have been driven in a bus to the 2 forts rather than making my way on foot, and I would have paid $74. In contrast, my DIY excursion cost me just $10 entry fee to the forts. As we said goodbye to San Juan amidst torrential continuing downpours, I got ready for dinner, which tonight was another specialty dining experience. This time it was in the Crown Grill. Now, this was my first time dining there, and also my third time so far on this cruise availing of the included specialty dining using the Princess Premier package. So I'm happy to report that it was a really good experience, both in terms of food and the service, so I'd highly recommend it. I would also say that this was a further really good experience using the Princess Premier package. It's so far proving to be really good value and a very good experience overall across the ship. Now also, I would suggest that you make your reservations in advance, particularly for the Crown Grill. It's always tremendously popular and does book up quite fast. I had actually made my reservation before joining the ship. After dinner, it was time to head off to the late show in the theatre, and this time it was a guest act, a vocal group called Uptown. They basically did Motown music, so they were very entertaining, very energetic, and there was quite a lot of audience interaction, much to the delight of one elderly lady sitting in the front row who was very much part of the show. You are the apple of my eye. Oh, I feel like this is the beginning. Though I've loved you for a million years. So that wraps up my first experience of San Juan. Now, I'm actually due to be back here on a celebrity cruise in a couple of weeks' time, so I hope to do another shore excursion DIY style at that stage and explore more of the city, and hope that the weather cooperates a little bit more. But before that, coming up next in this series, I'll be visiting St. Martin for the first time in the next episode, so I hope you'll tune in for that. For now, as always, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, please consider hitting the like button, and please consider subscribing if you'd like to stay up to date whenever a new episode comes out. Bye for now.